I'm a successful Udemy course instructor. I have close to 5,000 students for my Salesforce Flow course. So, does teaching on Udemy make any money? How much time and resources do I have to put in to be successful? How much money do I make when somebody buys my course? Are there any costs involved? Will I have to sell my course or will Udemy sell the course for me? Recently, from the Salesforce ecosystem, Stacy O'Leary asked me all these questions on a Zoom session, and I answered all of them. Please watch on to find out the answers. And if you like this video, remember to give me a like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. So, hello, Stacy. Let's talk
Hi.
about my Udemy course experience, right?
Yes, I'm have always been sort of interested in it, but I've never taken the jump to get started. And there's so much on there already that when people tell me when I conduct a training, oh, you should put something out there, you should put some content out, and we would totally pay for this. But there's so much content on Udemy already. That I kind of thought, oh, maybe it's oversaturated. I don't know that, unless I spent all day, every day promoting my stuff, would I really get any benefit from it? So I was really just hoping to kind of pick your brain and see what you think about it.
Sure. So let me just talk to you about my course. I have a course called Salesforce Lightning Flows on Udemy. And I published this one, I think it was, I'm trying to find the date, it's here somewhere. If you see the listing, it's on there. It's probably June. It's been about 1.5 years. So we are in October. It's about like 17 months, right? So when I put this out, it was about 2.5 hours long, the videos.
Okay.
It's a very structured and to the point course. I don't really like doing a lot of things on slides in presentation format, especially when it comes to flows. I do tutorial style. I do it and I record the screens, and then I'll share that, right? And then since then, there have been multiple updates to flow functionality, and now the course grew to almost 3 hours. I don't really want to make the course too long because, as you know, in technical training, people seem to kind of fall off a cliff after a while. Like
Yes.
they start watching, and then toward the end, you have only a few of those only watching to the end. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that I can't really teach them everything around flows. They kind of need to try things out and then drill down. And, all those resources are available. I'll link to them. So that worked actually quite well. It was a successful course. When I first started, there were not too many courses out there, especially no course that was in my style. So when I first launched it, it was received well. At the same time, I have a feeling that Udemy has some kind of algorithm that promotes kind of the newcomer. It tries to create the competition, right?
Oh, sure.
So
Okay.
they'll promote the newcomer because obviously it's not that easy to get off the ground until you get your like 100 students and then like 10 reviews, and then there is going to be another hurdle. So that's going to take time. But from an effort standpoint, one of the other fellow content creators on Udemy, David Messi, just recently put out a post on LinkedIn. I was reading that he just made the calculation how long it takes him to produce stuff. Like if you're producing 1 hour of content, that's going to take maybe 10 times the amount, the time duration to produce that. And before that, obviously, you have to create the curriculum, decide how to teach people, the sequence of things, But in your case, I'm pretty sure you are more than experienced in that area, so that shouldn't be very hard for you. But the video production, if you have not done a lot of video production, it's a very time-consuming process.
Yes, I imagine that's the part that I don't have much experience with, other than just conducting webinars generally, is actually producing something that people would be willing to pay for. That's new to me. So I would definitely need to work on that. But do you feel like Udemy, like there's room for newcomers still, or do you feel like it's just oversaturated now?
No, I mean, I think there is room for people, depending on what topic you pick.
Right.
I always believe in specialization. So my lane is flow, and I have a name in flow, so that actually helps me. But let's say if you want to do admin, obviously there are like very big names in admin. Can you challenge and become the one of the top 3? You could probably, but it's not easy.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to emphasize as well. Like when we were messaging back and forth, you kind of need to sell your
Right.
own content. It doesn't really sell itself. And when it does sell itself, or Udemy sells it for you, the numbers are not very favorable for you. So let's
Right.
talk about the money part, if you want.
Okay, sure.
You may have noticed that many people actually put out their courses on Udemy for $70, $100, and whatever, the sticker price is that. But as you already know, like Udemy is almost always on sale. There is some kind of sale going on, right? So, and if somebody comes through Udemy's own channels, like they go to Udemy and then they search for a course and then they buy your course, you get actually 30% of that money. So if they buy a course, let's say there's a system-wide sale going on. By the way, as a content creator, you decide whether to opt in or not for these sales, but you kind of have to, because it's not going to sell if you don't.
Sure.
So let's say you put in my courses, I think sticker price is 59 or something. Oftentimes it'll be like at 15, 19, let's say $20. So if it's on sale for $20, if somebody comes on Udemy and then they buy the course, I'm going to get $6 out of that, right?
Okay.
But there is a but. So Udemy also works with affiliates in different sites, and they also advertise themselves like on Google and other platforms. So if those come into play, then that's going to be also cut out of that money. So if they paid for like per click advertisement or something like that, that's also going to come out of that. And then Udemy, something that I find favorable, but in the end it plays into the numbers quite a bit. Udemy adjusts their prices according to the market.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether you can opt out, but I opted in. So let's say the course sells in India or in Turkey, whatever, the price that you see on the US side is going to be 20, but they are going to be paying maybe $10, maybe less, right?
Okay.
So you're going to get 30% of that. So, but if you do sell your own course, if people come from your link, you're just going to pay 3% out of that.
Okay.
Right. So you get to keep pretty much all the money. That's why it's very important you actually create your own promotions. You get up to 3 promotion links that you can create, discounted links that you can create throughout the month. So you can have one link that gives the course, like that sells the course at $9.99. You could have another one that sells it at $15.99. You could have another one that actually gives away for free. So you could have those different links that you could give to people. If you had, like, for example, a live session, you were teaching some people and say like, okay, if you buy my course now, I made a special link for you. Here you go. And you get to keep like about 97% of that money.
Okay.
So what are the big numbers, macro numbers in all this time, like, what did we say? About 17 months. How much did
Yeah.
my course make? So, and by the way, I think my course is a successful course in the sense that it actually sells quite well.
Right.
Not everybody's courses actually sell that well. There is also that, and I've been
Sure.
quite working on it and kind of cross marketing it. So it made about $14,000, but this is before tax. So
Okay.
this is a money that is before tax. You got to file your taxes here.
Right.
Well, depending on your tax status, either they are going to do a withholding. If they don't do a withholding, then you have to submit this in your taxes, and 30-40%, whatever is
Right.
your tax rate, is going to be cut out of that.
Right. Okay.
So, and total enrollments is 4,542. Let me
Okay.
just tell you one other thing which is important. Udemy has a program called Udemy Business. It's kind of like plural sites concept. They introduced this later in the game, and they say it's by invitation. So some of the content that sells well on their platform, they'll invite to be included on Udemy Business. And a lot of times, in my case, for example, their Udemy Business subscribers started requesting me. So, and then they included me early on. What that is big companies, even libraries in the United States, sometimes give out Udemy Business subscriptions to their constituents or like their employees.
Okay.
And the parent organization pays for it, and then everybody underneath actually get to use it for free. And you get a revenue out of that, but that revenue out of that is going to be based on the minutes that those guys watch. So it's kind of like a revenue share. So Udemy makes X amount of money overall in Udemy Business, and out of that, you provide 0.5% of the traffic, and then you get to keep that 0.5%. So that's the idea behind that.
Okay.
That is favorable, and the dynamics are a little bit different over there. The longer your course, the better, actually, in that concept, because if your course is obviously shorter and to the point, and these guys, I mean, the guys who actually end up watching my content from that area are usually the guys from India who work for big consultancy companies over there, TSC, and all kinds of different consultancy companies. I can see the subdomains when they actually come to my own website. They fill out a form. I give them like an infographic for free or something, and those guys, they will actually watch if you provided 5-hour content. As long as it's valuable, they'll watch it from beginning to the end because they are hungry. They sometimes ask me, why don't you give me more use cases? I need it, I want it. And they have very specific requests around that, actually.
Do you find yourself answering a lot of questions from people who take the courses?
Well, I do answer questions. I'm quite prompt with the questions, but it doesn't take a lot of my time at all. And they don't ask a lot of questions.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, that's not really a concern. The bigger concern for me, and that's where I'm having challenges, I work full-time and I do all this stuff on top of it, is to keep content updated. Flow area is an area where there is constant changes and improvements. And to keep that up to date is very difficult. Right now, for example, there are tons of flow courses on Udemy, and my traction started dropping because my screens are a little bit old. I mean, I need to actually reshoot the whole thing, and I was planning on doing it already, starting it this month, but I really haven't found the time. But I have to do it until the end of the year. So if you think about it, in Flow, for example, the lifespan of the whole course is about 1.5 years, because you provide to them lifetime access. You either update it. I mean, that's my kind of business ethic. You either keep it up to date or you pull it down. You don't sell it anymore, right?
Right.
So but you have to obviously, even up before that, I've made several improvements and changes. I reshot some of the sections. I had to add new functionality when, for example, the Flow Trigger Explorer came. I had to obviously add it there, right?
Okay.
All right, so the piece about, and I'm trying to find you, where is that? I'm trying to find you the business income. I think the business side brings about $200, $300 a month,
Okay.
depending, but it builds up to that point, obviously. The rest of it is from course sales. The traffic, I mean, the sales started dropping a little bit, but usually it brings about, like, you know, you can also do the math. It brings about like $600, $700. Now it started decreasing a little bit.
Was there any startup fees? Do they charge, does Udemy charge you anything as the creator upfront?
That's the thing. Everything is for free.
Okay.
There is no fee at all. Like, that's why they actually take that amount. Like, people
Right.
get very angry at Udemy for taking too big of a cut.
Yeah.
But I'm also an investor, and I look at you know, these companies, their profitability. Pretty much nobody in this space is profitable. It's not like they make money and then, you know, they hold on to a bunch of profit that they don't distribute to creators. That's how the dynamics of the space is.
Mhm.
Let me just show you a slide here that I had
Okay.
prepared for a presentation at Florida Dreaming a year ago. I made a presentation. I've done a presentation there that was called Find Your Own Passion Area or something like that, the title was. And at that time, I was just emphasizing here, you kind of need to sell yourself, and then the interplay between different channels is quite important. So
Mhm.
as you can see here, I started teaching kind of online even before 2021 with Salesforce Break YouTube channel, but I actually put out a 6-part, as far as, no, was it 4 or 6, multi-part flow training session I put out on YouTube starting January 2021. And then that started getting traction. Then I started a blog, and on top of that, I started a newsletter. And what ended up happening is, yeah, I did not get to put a lot of content frequently on the YouTube channel. So it started kind of dropping.
Mhm.
But imagine, I have a free training out over there. The taught hours on the paid channel Udemy far surpassed YouTube. So this is Udemy over here. That's how it went. And this is the YouTube hours. And YouTube, in fact, since then, I just updated this number before this meeting. These are Q1 and Q2 actual. YouTube, in fact, since then fell a little bit. And
That
now
was going to be one of my questions, was how does Udemy compare to YouTube as far as like viewership or revenue generated, like from ads from YouTube or anything like that?
Oh, YouTube channel still has not made it to monetization.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think you can make a lot of money out of that, even if you get there. I mean, my channel does not get that much traction. Maybe there are channels that make a lot of money. I don't know. I mean, I never aimed to make money out of YouTube that much. Something funny happened, because in January 2021, I created this course both in English and my native language, Turkish. And then I put the Turkish course on my Turkish YouTube channel, and I forgot about it. I don't really create additional content in Turkish, but I wanted to give it back to them. There is no content in Turkish for Salesforce, but there is a need. So for some reason, because of the economy and everything else, that YouTube channel kind of surpassed the English one. And right now that one is in monetization. It already made like 30, $50. It's not a big, but you know, it's there. But while the English one here has not made it there yet. But what I'm trying to say is if you can find the time to do Trailblazer user group presentations, Salesforce Saturdays, then YouTube newsletter, whatever. So with those, you can actually promote and sell. It's not going to sell itself. So it's a total effort. It takes quite a bit of time. And the other part of the video production is if you have not done a lot of video production, you get quite surprised by the time it takes to cut and produce stuff. Like if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, but you never think about it. Actually, video, like 10-minute video, actually consists of thousands of still pictures. So once you do any change anywhere, you could just be wanting to take out a couple of like pictures out of it, right? The whole thing re-renders, right? So you have to wait until it re-renders, and then sometimes you render it, you save it, and you're like, oh, okay, the sound is too low. Until you get that experience, it just takes a lot of time. And the money you put into equipment, you know, you buy this microphone, and then you want to buy the other microphone. Maybe you're better there than me, but I'm a geek, so I spend a lot of money. I spend more in equipment than I made on this course.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about it, and I was a teacher before I worked with Salesforce, so I'm totally confident teaching and training people. It's just I do so many of the same trainings over and over again, and I get that comment a lot from people, and so I just wanted to talk to another Salesforce expert about the topic.
Thank you. Well, one last thing. I think Udemy is a great platform to get your name out. I mean, it did wonders for me. I don't think it's going to make a lot of money for me. That's not where it's strong at. And if you look at other people as well, the end game is never Udemy. So you can start in Udemy, but what ends up happening is people buy into the Teachable platform. There's a platform that you can set up for yourself to put your videos out, and then it takes care of all the, you know, like logins and everything and the monetization part of it. Like the platform is called Teachable, and they have also some competitors, alternatives, whatever. And people just put their stuff out there and then start charging directly folks themselves. I think the end game would be that, including some live interaction as well, because once you include some live interaction, then you obviously you can charge more, right? So like, you know, I personally started doing boot camp style classes 6 weeks long now that I charge more. And when people ask, it's not that hard to explain, because over 6 weeks, I actually do 18 hours live interaction with the person. Even if you take a flute lesson, guitar lesson, you're going to pay that money, right? So maybe you won't be able to charge like 1,000, maybe we'll charge like 800, maybe 300. I don't know. So people experiment with that. And there are players in the ecosystem that do that as well. And one last thing, you don't have any information about your students, just the names, right? So a lot of us, what we usually do is, I mean, I don't really have anything I'm selling. So I just tell them I'll give them an infographic that helps them at the end, that summarizes all the different flow types if they come to my website and fill out like their name and email. So I accumulate that over there. And, you know, I sometimes invite them to join to my newsletter, educational newsletter, and things like that. But it helps to kind of accumulate that information for your own side, just in case you have another end game in the end, right?
Okay. This was amazing. Thank you so much. I think you answered most of my questions, and I'm just very grateful that you took the time to do this for me.
All right. You have a great evening now.
All right. You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.